Hello, hello, hello. If you are out there, you wonderful humans, let me know. And if you can hear and see me, if you could let me know that as well, obviously, I would be very, very grateful. So, all right, let me just get this little setup. It's very unseasonably warm today, which no complaints here, by the way. I am absolutely loving it. Can you, yeah, if you're here right now, can you just let me know if you can hear me? Let me know if you can see me. Just check in before I launch into everything. I just want to make sure. Hello. So I can see some of you guys popping in. If you would be a gem and just let me know if you can hear me. Aquarian S says, all good, all good. I can see you and hear you. Thank you very much. Okay, so it's all been a buzz in the Reydiant Nation, right? And I said that there would be new content. I said that there would be new everything. And so here we are. Today is the first day of new content. Today is the first day where I am going to be bringing you all kinds of new. All right. So I said to you guys, I wasn't going to abandon you and just be all about my members. I was going to continue to show up for everybody. So many of you loved the weekly general. And I thought to myself, why not make it a little bit more interesting? Right? Why not expand and evolve? And we are, as human beings, and this is a really important point to talk about, by the way, because obviously today is Monday, or Moonday, as I like to call it. So if you like my Moonday Magic posts, if you don't know what I'm talking about, on Instagram, Facebook, and the YouTube community tab, every Monday, I put out a mini tarot read to talk about where the moon is at this moment in time as we start the week, how we're going to experience that. And I love doing those so much that I thought to myself, why not make it bigger? You guys obviously all tell me that you love the weekly generals. A lot of people have been like, where are they? They've been getting a little bit of a zhuzh, darling. They've been getting a little bit of TLC. Sorry, it's very bright here. And as I say, I'm not complaining, because to have good weather and sunshine at this point of the year in the UK, in the Shire, is we'll take what we can get. But yeah, I wanted to evolve the weekly general, and I wanted to evolve the Moonday Magic post. And the reason this is important, especially on a moon day, is that human beings, we are deeply attuned to the moon. We are very much attuned to our fair Luna. And so in a lot of ways, Luna is a cyclic being, and so are human beings. We wax and we wane, we breathe and we exhale, right? We push and we pull. And that is life. And, my channel it's an extension of me. and I need to keep that growing. I need to keep it fresh, not just for you guys, but for myself as well, right? It's a really important part of this whole process. I need to love what I'm doing and be excited about it to really give you guys the best of what I'm doing. All right. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for being a part of the Reydiant Nation. You guys know Rafi loves ya. And thank you for sticking around, and welcome to your all new Moonday Magic. All right. The new weekly general. So sit down, grab a cup, grab a brew, and we're going to settle in, and I'm going to take you through how this is going to work, right? So welcome to my channel. If you are new to Reydiant Reality, then I just want to say thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for checking me out. I am Raphael. I am an astrologer, tarot reader, numerologist, and energy worker. I know this is a mouthful, right? But those are the core 4 practices that I use that are really effectively my bag. That's what I'm good at, I believe. And it's how these are the materials or the media, let's say, that I use to bring you the messages that I do. So whenever I'm talking about astrology, I'm always talking about whole sign tropical Western astrology. For numerology, it's mostly standard numerology, but some Pythagorean, and there's a few ancient techniques that I throw in there as well. Give or take. I'm a little bit of a spiritual magpie, as one of my favorite mentors called me. And it actually kind of stuck, and I really like that. It works for me. So obviously, we are here to talk about Luna and her fair goddess energy throughout the week. So let's get straight into it. Can you believe as well some of the stuff that's happening on the wider world stage as we speak? So that being said, as we open this week, right, as we start this week, I'm going to keep an eye on the chat as well. I'll try not to be too distracted by it, because Rafi can get a little bit sidetracked, and I do go off on a tangent every so often. Or 5. Now, so we start the week today, Monday, and we start this with Luna in the cool, calm, and collected sign, the fixed air sign of Aquarius. Now, depending on where you are in the world, obviously I'm always using London time, between 6 and 10 a.m. Actually, interestingly enough, the moon was going to be void, of course, but you know what? I thought, why not jump in anyway and see what happens? Not an ideal time, but just something to keep sort of in mind. Now, on Tuesday, Luna is then going to move into the mutable water sign of Pisces. Now, this is a pretty big deal because, as we know, on the 18th of September, give or take a day, we are literally, as I'm talking to you right now, we're in the middle of eclipse. We're in the thick of eclipse energy. So we're already in eclipse energy, in eclipse season. We're already in the zone, let's say. Right now, that being said, this is the first eclipse effectively in the period now. So Tuesday, the 17th of September. So when it comes to lunar transits, if you've been with me long enough, I always say to you, it's the day before, the day of, and the day after. With eclipses, it's longer than that. They have, usually a 3 to 6 month shelf life, give or take what they're doing in your personal chart. But as a general rule, for a lunar transit, it's the day before, the date of exactitude, and the day after. That transit window, as we call it, is really where you get to see what is happening. What is that lunation, new moon or full moon, eclipse, etc.? What is it showing you? What is it really initiating or bringing into your world or into your life at that moment in time? So be observant as of Tuesday. Once the moon enters into Pisces, be really clear on what's going on. Pay attention. Listen to what's being said to you and around you, because that's where you're really going to be getting, a good sort of understanding of what's taking shape. And then obviously on the 18th, she will go into that. That's the first eclipse in the Pisces and Virgo energies. Right now, stay tuned because I've got a video coming for you on that as well. So hopefully you guys will love and enjoy that as much as I loved and enjoyed writing it up and creating it for you. Now, once the eclipse, because the eclipse is quite late in Pisces, it's at like 25 degrees. So once we get into Wednesday, as soon as like we get into Wednesday, once the eclipse energy has really sort of laid itself out, she's then going to move into Aries, and pretty much immediately, and because the North Node in Aries at the moment is literally at like 6 degrees currently, right? So she's going to come into the connection or the conjunction with the North Node, which means whatever the full moon lunar eclipse is doing for you in your life, in your chart, in your experience, that's going to be highlighted. Something at the time of the eclipse is going to be seeded, highlighted, etc. It's a North Node eclipse as well, so that's worth noting. And then when Luna then conjuncts the North Node in the sign of Aries at 5/6 degrees, give or take, that's going to be the moment where we might feel a push or a call to act on new information or revelations that come to light under the energy of that eclipse, right? Then on Thursday, Luna's going to come into a conjunction with Chiron. This day in particular could really press buttons, but it's very likely that there's going to be something that makes us feel very sensitive, potentially very vulnerable, and it maybe activates or presses or hits on a bit of a wound of some sort that we have been working through, right? So Thursday can be a little bit of a sensitive day, so watch out for that. Coming to Friday, Luna enters her exaltation. She's going to come into the sign of Taurus. She loves to be in the sign of Taurus. She is waning at this time though, right? So we're already at peak full moon energy really as of today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and then after that it's going to start its wane and decline. Saturday is going to see the moon trine Mercury and the sun. That, I think, because it's going to pass through both of them. The moon and the Mercury and the sun aren't very close together, but Luna moves. She's the fastest moving planet or luminary, should I say, certainly in our scope of existence. And so, she's going to pass through both of those trines on that day. So it could actually be a really nice day for communication, but it could just as easily be a really nice day for you to understand something on a practical level and then start to really move towards it. Now, on Sunday, I'm interested in this because we do have a grand Earth trine. The sun is going to be at 29 degrees of Virgo. We've got Pluto at 29 degrees of Capricorn, and we'll have the moon at 29 degrees of Taurus. That is what we call a grand Earth trine. This is easy, supportive, harmonious energy. It is a waning moon, right? So really what this means is it's an ideal to release or to remove or to let something go on a practical level, on a material level, because it's an earth trine. It's about our bodies, it's about our health, it's about our finances, our resources, right? It's about our food, it's about our health regimes and bodies and all of that stuff. So if there's something that you feel like, you know what, I really need to get rid of this, I want to shift this, I want to let that go, I've got stuff that I know I need to chuck out, this is really Sunday coming is really a perfect day to do so. What's really interesting about this as well is that we've got all three, so we've got both luminaries and Pluto all at 29 degrees of their respective earth signs. 29 degrees so if you know anything about astrology, you know that 29 degrees is what we call the anaretic degree, and it is a very intense energy. So this feeling that you have to remove or to get rid of something, it might feel really palpable, like to the point where you're like, okay, what's the obsession? I just know that I need to get rid of this. I will say, if you've got subscriptions that you don't use, or if you're signed up for things that's basically just spending money for no reason, shut it down on Sunday, right? If there's a dietary thing that you've got in your house that you think, you know what, I need to stop eating this, get rid of it on that day. And what I mean is get rid of it, don't eat it. Give it away, donate it. Same with clothes, right? Use this energy, it will be present for you. Now, currently, as in the here and now, Luna is waxing and very close to full at this point, right? So we are in eclipse season, as I said earlier. And this is literally happening in a couple of days. She's growing in light, she's growing in power, she's growing in speed. And we're probably feeling, all of us, I mean, I know this morning, so I don't know about anyone else. In fact, let me know in the chat if you are this sort of person, right? So when I get up in the morning, obviously I do my systems check. But the first thing that I do when once I'm up and awake and functioning and I've tended to my ablutions, what I do is I've got a set of people, and it grows every day. I've got a set of people that I literally message every morning to say, good morning, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you have a good day. Lots of love, right? Sometimes it's a short message, sometimes it's a voice note, sometimes it's a meme. But I have like my core people, and it's one, to let people know that they're appreciated. Two, because I really at this point in my life understand that tomorrow is really not promised for any of us. And three, I love the continuity that it brings. But one thing, and I usually get replies from people, sometimes they're later in the day, sometimes they're in the evening, but very often it's, within orb of 30 minutes of me sending that message. And the reason I'm talking about this is because this morning I noticed that everyone was on, right? Like they were on. The energy feels good, Raf. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. What about you guys? You guys in the chat, you guys that are here with me right now, did you feel it? When you woke up this morning, was it like, yeah, I feel on, I'm here, I'm present, I'm doing it, I'm good, I feel like I'm present and engaged? Like, did you feel that this morning? Was it just me? Was it just the people that I send messages to? I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Anyway, the nice thing about this moon, the nice thing about the moon being in Aquarius is we start the week and we can rationalize our feelings a bit better. We have one of the things that I love about the moon in Aquarius is there's space, there's internal, emotional, and mental space for you to just really think about how you feel, right? We can rationalize our feelings a bit better. And because the eclipse is, it maybe won't necessarily offer a lot of clarity itself, it is very nicely supported by Uranus and Pluto. This eclipse that is coming is an eclipse of transformation, an eclipse of power, and an eclipse of eventual insight, right? So it's going to be an interesting one for sure. We might not be able to fully understand all of the messages that come through around the time of that eclipse. So consider it a gift that we'll continue to give later on, right? So in terms of some of the themes, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are the transit window that I talked about earlier, right? The day before, the day of, and the day after. Chichinya says, yeah, I also do that. I send messages to friends wishing them a good day. Yeah, I love it because it's just a really nice thing to do in the morning, and to know that you've, made sure that because I used to be really terrible at communication, considering I can talk for Britain. Whereas now, I try to be a lot more on it and to be a bit more sort of present in people's lives. Now, truthfully speaking, an eclipse does have a much broader window. It's about 3 to 6 months, as I said earlier. But for exactitude, it really is that day before, day of, day after. The window of time is really what shows you what you're getting over the next 90 to 180 days of this activation, right? So in terms of what's going on in the world right now, very interesting that there is, I don't know if anybody saw that there was an attempt of some sort that's being talked about at the moment on the news, in the media. I did find that very, very interesting that I woke up to that, because it was one of the things that was on all of the platforms and things. And I do wonder if with this eclipse, we are going to see, right? We're going to see some kind of revelation that comes out. And what's really interesting is, I don't know if anybody knows this, but a lot of politicians tend to have either a very strong 12th house or a lot of Pisces energy. They tend to have a lot of those energies. So the fact that we've got this eclipse coming, and there was an attempt, and this isn't about the person themselves. To be completely honest with you, I'm neither one way or another when it comes to politics. I don't like it. I don't buy into it. I don't subscribe to it, because by its very nature, it's divisive, and I'm not interested in that. I don't get involved in conversations and discussions around things that are built effectively to pull people apart. I really don't care what your affiliations are or your beliefs are. As long as you're good to me, I will be good to you. As long as you're not out there harming people, I've got love for you. I don't, outside of that, I don't buy into religions, politics, all of that kind of stuff. And the reason I very rarely talk about those things is because they are divisive by their very nature. All right. And if there's anything you know about me, I'm all about bringing people together. So this week might start with a feeling of fast, and it's hurtling forwards, and it probably won't start to really get slower until we get into, because this is like the energies for the week ahead, right? It probably won't start to get slower or feel like it's slowing down or not as intense until we get to Friday. And that's when, so it's Friday comes from the term Freya's Day, which is also known as Venus Day. And it's interesting because Luna will be coming into the sign of her exaltation, which is Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus. So it's a very interesting weekend this week, I think we're going to have, and probably quite a nice one as well, to be fair. Now, to give you an example of this, the week's lunar energies encourage emotional resilience, but also emotional flexibility and the ability to bring the practical realms into the now, right? So no matter how floaty the eclipse has us all feeling, we will need to find a way to bring that energy to the ground sort of relatively quickly. And then as the moon sort of moves towards its last quarter phase, we'll probably start to feel a strong pull towards action, especially around releasing or closing things down that maybe have an air of finality to them, right? So especially because this is a North Node eclipse that's happening, which means a big ending, a big completion, culmination, but there's also something that's coming through the door because it's a North Node activation, right? So it's like as something is closing down, something else comes in. In terms of the personal impact, how are we going to feel this on a more personal level? Honestly, it might be quite a sensitive week for everybody. Possibly means that it's going to be there'll be a need to keep your emotions in check, which is why how you feel right now as Luna is in the sign of Aquarius, in control of your emotions, totally on, all of that stuff. Try to hold on to that throughout the week until we get to Friday, all right? Because the days in between Tuesday to Thursday, they're going to have some moments, all right? So just keep that keep that in mind. It's a time to really pay attention to your feelings, to your intuition, to really check them in a very grounded sort of way. Do they make sense? Is there evidence for what you're feeling and seeing, right? And I ask this because this moon is conjunct Neptune. There's going to be a lot of watery, floaty, sort of illusory energy around. If you want to talk about, obviously, the moon rules the people, and it's going to be an eclipse in the collective unconscious in Pisces. And we've got all of this stuff happening on the wider world stage. I think if there were ever going to be a time for false news, fake news, or anything like that, it's quite possibly now. So just be mindful, all right? Now, relationships and communications might be all in the feels at this time. And if that's the case, then you need to breathe, step back, and then by the end of the year, by the end of the week, we might be just really feeling the need to CTFO, right? So I advise you to listen to that, but don't go overboard. So before we get into the final leg, I do want to remind you, the link will be eventually in The link will eventually be in the, what am I looking for? The week will eventually be in the week. The link, oh my gosh, come on, Raf. The link will eventually be in the description. But I just want to remind you that I am currently in the process of letting everybody know that I am offering a work with me for 3 months, 1-to-1. This is you and me co-creating your life for the next 3 months. We're going to be looking at your chart. We're going to be using your numbers. We're going to be using energy work. We're going to be setting you up so that you can finish this year strong. The cart closes on the 29th of September. As of October, we are in it, right? I am going straight in with you. And as if that wasn't enough, I'm not just going to look at your chart. I'm not just going to look at your numbers. I'm also going to be available for you on WhatsApp. You will be able to, Monday to Friday, check in with me. If I tell you how many clients have said to me, Raf, if I had you on speed dial, I'd be running the world by now. And I always laugh at that because I'm like, and then I got so many emails as well when people say to me like, why don't you do emergency readings? I would love to be able to get to you quickly. Well, you can have that, right? So for 3 months, you work with me one-on-one. We're going to do all of your astrology, tarot, numerology. You're going to get the works. And then when you have challenges or issues arise or opportunities that you really want to milk the best of, you will have a chance to, you can literally, Monday through Friday, you can get hold of me on WhatsApp. There will be voice notes. There will be memes. Just for those of you that don't know, Heather Angel is in the chat right now. She will attest. There will be voice notes. There will be memes. And for those of you that so graciously loved the upgraded cup, it was a gift from dear Heather. So you've got Heather to thank for the upgrade that I got. Okay, so before we get into the final leg of it, I would like to ask you, to invite you to take a moment, take a breath, just come into the present moment and allow yourself to be ready to receive whatever messages there are for you from this Moonday report. Okay, so I've given you a bunch of astrological insight. Now we're going to look at what the tarot has to say. So the card that I always use to represent Dear Luna is the High Priestess, right? The moon card in tarot is not the moon. If you've taken my tarot course, you know this. The moon, as in the body, the celestial being that is Luna, is the High Priestess and always will be, right? So for every sign, or should I say every grouping that I'm about to read for, you have this, right? So all of you will have this. And we're going to go element by element. So before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity, and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. All right. So, in fact, to get you guys involved, I want somebody out there to type stop. All right. When you want me to stop shuffling, just type in stop in the chat. All right, I'm going to put it out to my wonderful community. Heather says she loves a voice note. Absolutely, me too. All right, stop. There we go. Thank you very much. So, for the fire signs among you, right? So you can watch this for your moon sign, or you can watch it for your sun sign. Or if you want to, you can watch it for your ascendant. You can watch all three, but we're going to go element group by element group. Okay, so for the fire signs among you, that's Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. You have obviously the High Priestess to represent Luna. But what she's bringing you, wow, okay, so you've got the Seven of Swords. So this combination, I've got to be honest with you, it's not an easy one, right? And when you see this, this usually represents that there is something being hidden from you. This is an eclipse. It's a full moon lunar eclipse that's coming on Wednesday, as we know. And that full moon lunar eclipse is going to be conjunct Neptune, right? In the sign of Pisces. So I will say, if you are a fire sign this week, when it comes to life in general, it's very possible that there could be a lie that is discovered, some piece of information that comes forward for you and is shared with you. Now, this could also be literally like hidden deceit. This could be also something that's taking place at nighttime as well. I will say, for those of you that are fire signs this week, please lock up your doors, make sure you lock up your cars, make sure you're locking your windows. It's not an easy message, I'm really sorry to say. But yeah, with that Seven of Swords as well, the other thing that I want to remind you of, because remember, the moon can be our feelings, right? The moon can be our feelings. It can be what we need to feel nourished and nurtured. And when you couple these two together, it's also possible. One of the other things that I talked about in the whole report was check in with your intuition, check in with what those, if you have thoughts and feelings of paranoia and, all this, is there actually evidence for that? Right? Because it's possible with this combination that there could be some kind of self-illusory tendency as well. So if you're a fire sign, I want you to look for evidence, right? And if you've got, so one of the ways that I do this, and I will tell the full story of this one day, but the last job that I had, I've told it a few times, but I've never made a thing of it. But one day I'll tell the full story, but I never forget. I was having a really tough time at work, and it's because there was a lot of stuff going on in the background that I was unaware of, but I could feel that something was happening. And so in my mind, it was like, this is me, I'm in trouble. Something has gone wrong, and I don't know what's going to hit. And then I checked in with a friend and my partner at the time to say, look, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling. They didn't have any evidence for it. And so, they didn't dismiss it, but it was important for me to check. So this week, if you are a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, don't just check in with yourself, but check in with your trusted advisors, right? To see, is what I'm thinking and feeling correct, or is it just me? All right. And also, in terms of the information that comes to you, just make sure that you vet it. Don't take any information as a fire sign at face value, right? You want to ask several people, because the problem is the person giving you the answer to your question may very well, maybe that is the truth of it as they understand it. Do you know what I mean? So as an example, I'll give you a good example here. So I didn't know that here in the UK, the regulations have been updated. So you're not allowed to have a single plug socket anymore. They all have to be doubles. So I didn't know that. So I was thinking, right, I'm going to go and buy a single. Well, you can't buy a single anymore. Oh, why? Because of this, right? So my knowledge was the thing that was wrong, right? So just watch out for that this week if you're a fire sign. For the water signs, you have the High Priestess with the Queen of Pentacles. So this could be a woman behind the scenes that is either supporting you or standing with you or for you. This could be somebody that is, so if you're a water sign, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, this could be that an earth sign woman, Taurus, Capricorn, or a Virgo, could be supporting you in some way, maybe fighting for you on your behalf. This could equally be, though, that there is somebody who potentially works against you, right? So it's really your personal circumstances are going to matter here. The other thing that comes through here as well, if you're a water sign and you've been having that internal intuitive push to look after yourself that much more, it needs to start this week, right? This is where you start doing the exercise. This is where you start maybe eating right or doing your meal prep. This is where you start, I don't know, getting your square 8 hours of sleep a night. This is a week to really activate that self-care because your intuition is calling for it, right? So if you're a water sign, dig deep. Listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to your entire being. What does it want from you? What does it need from you at this moment in time? So for the air signs, you have the Devil card, right? So if you are an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, this week you do have a chance to see your very own bad habits, patterns, and obsessions, the crutches that you use, the excuses that you use, the stories that you tell yourself as to why you do this thing or why you have this thing. For me personally, it's been sugar, right? Sugar has been in my, older days, in my younger days, I was feral. Everybody knows that. I don't hide that fact. I don't go into much detail about it, but I was a bit of a wild child. That's a bit of an understatement. As a grown-up, sugar is my vice, right? It's the only vice that I have. That has gotten a lot better. Interestingly enough, I had a somatic session. It wasn't a very long one, but I had a somatic session with Heather. And since then, my sugar intake and binge and need to binge has not been as bad or as intense. It's still there, but that I think is because I was going through the process of moving and all the rest of it. Anyway, this isn't about me. My point is, I'm an air sign, Aquarius, but Aquarius, Gemini, Libra, whatever your addictions are, whatever your habits are, whatever your patterns are, whatever the obsessions or the things where you're like, well, I do this because of this, the excuses and the bullshit around those. Sorry, YouTube gods, don't smack me. Please let my video go out. It was just one. But the BS, the stories that you tell yourself, they're coming down this week. And if they don't, you're probably going to be left with your pants around your ankles. So something's going to be revealed to you, I think, in a really big way this week. And it's going to hit you in a way that makes you kind of go, right, enough with the excuses. It's time for action. So whatever your bad habits are this week, my air signs, you will be releasing them now. And then finally, for the water signs, you have the 8 of Cups. Isn't it funny how none of the element groups got like a really good card? I think we've all been politely smacked on the wrist by tarot and the universe this week, right? So this lunar energy over the course of the week for the earth signs, it's really inviting you to check your emotional imbalance. And also, if you're an earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn, or a Virgo, it's time for you to start sharing it's not just about sharing your story, it's more a case about acknowledging what your experience has been. So you can kind of like, when you've got that saying where people say like, oh, be kind to everybody because you never know what somebody's dealing with behind the scenes, right? That's very true. And it's true for all of us. But if you're an earth sign this week, I think it's about time for you to reveal some of this and say, well, actually, this is something that's been going on in the background. It's been really hard for me to deal with. And not only is this going to see a rush of support for you, it's actually going to help you heal on an emotional level, and it will help you balance the scales once more, right? So for all of us, in some way, shape, or form, I think this week's lunar energies, it's really about getting us to be real about where we're actually at, right? So the next part of this is, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull 3 cards. These 3 cards are going to be for everybody, right? And what we're going to look at here are different elements or how we can use this emotional energy and things that we need to be aware of. So I'm just going to say as well, again, once more, for somebody out there, when you're ready for me to stop shuffling, when you're ready for me to stop shuffling, somebody please type stop again in the chat. All right, stop. Thank you very much. So the first card, this is about our emotional focus for the week, right? And this week we have the Temperance card. So the emotional focus for all of us, for the collective this week, It really is about moving into a stronger sense of alignment with what your path really calls for. And what I mean by this is you already know what your goals, desires, and dreams are, right? This is about really moving into a space of alignment with what it's going to take to get you there. But it has to be on the internal level. Isn't this funny, right? We're talking about lunar energy, which is internal, feminine, accepting, yielding, yin energy, right? And the Temperance card, you know, like the Magician is as above, so below. Well, the Temperance card is as within, so without, right? So this week it's about moving emotionally, internally, to the space that we would need to inhabit in order to welcome in our goals, desires, and dreams. All right. The second card that we're going to look at is the challenge for the week, right? So we've got the King of Swords. King of Swords is usually an expert. King of Swords is usually somebody that is, could be an air sign male, Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra. What this usually shows up though is it can be like a lawmaker. It can be the boss. It can be the person in charge. It could be somebody that's like a professor, etc. Because this represents the challenge this week, it's twofold. In one sense, this can be that our mind is the thing that really gets in the way for us. And in another sense, this could represent an authority figure that there's no getting around, right? So this week, it's possible for all of us that we could meet, like, there's a boulder in the path, right? And because it's the King of Swords, this is potentially some kind of red tape. Maybe it's some kind of paperwork. This could be that you get a letter or a document, or maybe you have a conversation that's somewhat official in some capacity that gets you to say, right, okay, I'm doing this inner emotional alignment work to move myself towards the things that I want. But actually, there's some very real world or practical experiences that need to be wrapped up in order for me to go for that, right? And then finally, the outcome of the week is the Five of Swords. Okay, so it's not an easy energy. Remember what I said to you throughout this video. I talked about the fact that our emotions are going to be higher to the surface. We start the week on a really good energy. Remember how you felt this morning or on Monday, because as you move through the rest of the week and we move through this eclipse energy, it's going to get a little bit intense, all right? Apologies, human moment. I've been talking for like 40 minutes at this point, so I apologize. I just needed a drink. So the thing with the Five of Swords is the outcome of the week. What it means is if you can accept, because remember the Five of Swords can be about defeat, but if you can accept that there are some things that you're never going to be able to win, and that there are some things that really aren't worth fighting for, it's very possible that you could literally sidestep the challenge, right? So it's like, you know what, I was going for this thing, and I got a letter. Let's say I've saved this money for this thing that I want to start. And then I got a letter telling me that I owe X amounts, and it was the exact money that I'd managed to save and put away. You can get into your mind and be really defeatist and fight the whole thing and kick and scream. Or you can say, you know what? Isn't it fortunate that I had that money just to get rid of that thing that came up? And now that it's done, I get to start from zero, without that in the back of my mind, or without it showing up at a later date when I've really made some progress. This isn't about accepting defeat. It's about acknowledging that not every little hiccup and or challenge that shows up in our lives has to derail us. We do have the ability to choose something better, all right, to change the way that we think and feel about something. So all in all, to recap, we start the week on a high. We've got the eclipse coming, 17th, 18th, the 16th, 17th, and 18th. No, the 17th, 18th, and 19th is your transit window. You want to observe that sort of period and really just watch it unfold, all right? So if you are a continued subby, You know Rafi loves ya. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for being here. Please, all of you, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, don't forget to subscribe, and also, please don't forget to let everybody know. Please don't forget to let everybody know that I will be out here and doing all of that good stuff. So there's way more to come. Aquarianess, so there will be one card pools for cards, but they will be for in the memberships. So if you want to get those, you know what to do. With that said, have an amazing week, everybody. I will see you again for more content sooner than you think. And it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for being here. Thank you for spending part of your Monday with me. And I look forward to where it's all going to take us. Let me know in the comments how this shapes up for you over the course of this week. Mwah! Get out there and be who you are destined to be. Take care, and I'll see you soon.